It's funny, Paul, you mentioned how, like, you would have gone on a big night out after the game in Rome and how the lineup was a lot different. And Luke was saying how the choke tackle was brought in. Like, rugby's changed so much since then. It feels like that was kind of the start of where the journey we're on, where we are at the Irish team at the moment almost.
I don't know if it was the start, really. I mean, every group now, it seems to be better than the last, And, I mean, I think 99, 2000, that Munster team, obviously I'm Munster biased, but that Munster team was probably the real big start of it for me. I mean, they created, by the time I came into Munster in 2001, I kind of expected to win, and I was going to be part of a Heineken Cup winning team any year. Whereas if you played for Munster 3 years before that, they were getting beaten by 60 points in Toulouse. So some of the guys that played in that team never got to win a European Cup medal for Munster, but they actually did something a lot harder in that they changed the culture, or they flicked the switch and created something. I mean, I remember going to watch Donegal Callaghan play for Munster in Garryowen. It was about, against Ulster in an Interpro game, there was about 400 people at it, Nowadays we've massive crowds at the game. So that group really flicked the switch. Gatland around then as well started with the Irish team. That test against Scotland where he brought in the 5 first caps. And it's been on an upward curve ever since. And it's been, I think, slow and steady at times, but it's been pretty meteoric at times as well. And I think even the more I'm involved in rugby now, the more I look back at some of the things that happened. Eddie O'Sullivan never won a championship or never won a Grand Slam, but he did incredible things for us in terms of changing habits and professionalism. I remember Mervyn Murphy was his video analyst, who's still with the Irish team. It was incredible what he did, but there was a period there where we had to sign in and sign out of when we had done our analysis, And you couldn't do that with professional rugby players now. They'd throw their toys out of the pram and, it's something you couldn't do. But back then, you kind of had to do it. You needed a bit of a headmaster attitude to get us to do it. But once we started doing it, we totally bought into it. And by the time me and Luke were on the lines in 2009, it was all the Irish players were on the analysis laptops over in South Africa. The Irish players for a long time now have had very, very good habits. And a lot of it goes back to those years and some of the development that the IRFU put in around the academies, coaches like Eddie O'Sullivan, Declan Kidney, making great calls, like bringing in the likes of Michael Cheika, bringing in great players like John Langford, Nasiwa, and I can't remember the question now, but you just said that was the start. That was the start of it, but it wasn't really. There's been an awful lot of people that have, I think, made long-term decisions and probably invested in players and invested in coaching, and it's really benefited in the long term. I mean, even the type of coaching that Joe Schmidt does now, I think Irish players were probably the country that was probably capable of taking it on and doing it the most, because we had such great habits around analysis, around learning your role. It was a big part of what we did, and not a lot of other countries do that. I mean, every Irish player would have a copybook in the meeting, would be taking notes, and that's been happening for a long time. It's not common practice everywhere else.